For this next video, we're going to focus on HF base station options. So in this, we're going to try to look at a couple different factors. One is deciding which is the right cable for your base station. How much power is enough? Can never be enough, but still, how much power is enough? Is it a vertical, tower, or wire antenna setup? And also the installation considerations. So let's focus on the baseline products from ABR Industries. All the cables are outdoor rated, they're UV resistant, they're non-contaminating, which means they can be directly buried in the ground or hold up against salt and chemicals. The average lifespan of the cables is 20 years. And as far as the usage goes, it kind of relates a little bit to your vehicle with regarding tires. The harder you work your vehicle, the harder you work your cable, the sooner the product could break down. So let's start with a basic HF 100 watt barefoot system. We're going to start with the smaller cables first because they are actually the more popular and more economical. There's the 240 Ultraflex, which is an RG8X replacement. It's designed to not only be the same size as the 8X, but it is highly stranded. Also, it is lower loss by 30% compared to the traditional 8X, a double shielded product now, and it's UV resistant and direct burial. The other product that's key would be the 240 solid. Although a solid center conductor is not preferred for a lot of applications, if it's a standard vertical setup or the antenna is not moving, why not use a cable that gives you a little bit better as far as loss characteristics? So when we take a look at these and compare them side by side, the 240 solid is more economical because the solid center conductor is slightly cheaper, but also the insertion loss is just a little bit better by 1/10 of a dB. Now, in between the 240 and the 240 Ultraflex, those two products may seem a little bit higher than a traditional 213. However, you're spending less than half the amount of money for a 100-foot assembly in comparison, and you're getting just as good of results. So now let's take the next step and go to an amplifier. 600 watts or higher are becoming more and more popular. So there's a couple different products that are popular in this series. One is the 400 series. Now there is two different types. The solid center conductor is very good once again for stationary applications. Or if you have a high amount of flexing, you could also look at the 400 Ultraflex for twists and turns and bends, rotor applications. But don't forget the RG213. The 213 is always an HF workhorse. It handles the heating and cooling of the transmission much better than foam dielectrics. So don't count it out, and maybe it's a product that you might want to take a look into. Because when we start looking at the data, for a lot of the HF frequencies, the products are almost side by side as far as performance. Realistically speaking, it doesn't start to step up until just beyond 14 megahertz, and even then, it's only 1/10 of a dB difference. So when you get up to 30 megahertz is where you really start to see some of the distinctive characteristics of the 400 series or 400 Ultraflex compared to the 213 product. Now, one comment I like to give to people is you can always mix and match your cables. You can use solid center conductor products as your main trunking line, and then use the 400 Ultraflex product as far as your amplifier and moving out from your shack, or from your rotor to the trunking line on the tower. Also, the smaller 240 cables, because they're lightweight and ease of use, are much more popular inside for outside of the radio when it's just 100 watts, and also some simple devices like a tuner when it's doing its generic test. So please take that in consideration because you can obviously save on your pocketbook. Now there's a couple of things that we do with the products. One is we can color code all the different cables. So if you have multiple lines going to multiple antennas, we could color code each one of those assemblies. We can also color code the run itself to either make it more visible or easier to hide with like an army green or darker shades. On all of our assemblies, they're customized. They're built to your needs. There's standard products that are listed, but there's also a number of products that can be built to any configuration as far as length and connector type. Don't forget, we offer ferrites on our products. There's two different types. A voltage type, which as you see there, the circular donuts, and those are more for key-up issues coming out of an amplifier or device when you're affecting other equipment, let's say your dishwasher in your house. And then there's the inline ferrites that generally take care of common mode issues, such as the noise that's created from outside sources, power lines, also atmospheric noises, lights, so on and so forth, that can affect your signal. We also offer cat cables as well as rotor cable for different control configurations as well. So once again, how do we differentiate ABR Industries? One is our automated tool set. We use a lot of high precision machinery to not only cut, strip, but also help terminate. Our testing is RF testing, where we can do continuity, we can do high pot, we can also do the insertion loss, SWR, or sweeping, and a whole different data sets. We can also do a wide variety of other tests, such as mechanical or pull testing. Our people have an average of 16 years in the business, so they've been around for quite a while, and they're very good at their jobs and continuously go through all different types of education. And the last piece is we're very conscientious because we are a U.S. manufacturer, not only of our cable assemblies, but our raw sourced materials. That means the cable, the solder, and other components. The only thing we don't source in the U.S. is actually the connectors themselves, but we use a wide variety of sources that have been pre-approved and checked out and validated by us, and we've been using them for a number of years, at least over 10 to 15 years. So once again, I'd like to thank you for your time. You can reach out to us to visit for more information at abrind.com, or you can call us at 713-492-2722.